As part of the Pauline mission of evangelization, we use not only the media to proclaim the gospel, but we also use, we understand it and speak within the culture of communications to find where the gospel message is present, where are the human values and are present within the culture of media. So that's where we're going to start off. But to begin, well, this is where we will make the screen because this is just a fun thing. Okay, well, this is a quick outline, but I'm going to ignore that. Okay. Oh, wait. We want to talk about why is it in context, where we talk media mindfulness in context of the Pauline mission, and just, I don't know how much you know about Blessed James Alberione. I don't know how much Father Mike just told you, but he really was a unique person at the time. I mean, in the early 1900s, he really began looking at media as a way of evangelizing, which at that time was only the press, and it really was to combat bad press with the good press. And that was really his motivation. But he didn't stay there. He always kept seeing what was the next gift of technology that the Lord was providing, that he would take that on to also proclaim the gospel. So like in 1930s, he was one of the first ones ever to produce biblical films. This is before Zeffirelli came along. He always talked about, you don't just have to speak about religion, and you got to speak about everything in a Christian way. It's not just about talking about God all the time. That's not what evangelization is about. It's about bringing the gospel message within the context that we live every day. So, but within the Pauline mission, for us, as Paulines, or for anyone who wishes to use or look at media and evangelize within that context, it's like we're taking the package of the gospel message and reformulating it and putting, making it beautiful with art and design and structuring it in technology, really, to make it appealing and meaningful for people today. So it produces the media, but it's about finding God present within that culture of communications. How do we find God present? And he's there because God's present in everything that's human and all human experience. And what is it in the media is human experience and anything that's referring to the human being. And so it's really talking about the struggles, the hopes, the dreams of humanity. When you look at all the stories, especially in movies, I'm going to talk more about movies today, but you can take this into any context of area of media, internet, and music, and whatever. It shows the dark side of human nature, but it also, because it shows human original sin, but none of this is too human to God. God is present even in the sin, God is even present there when we sin. And this is what incarnational theology is all about. Jesus came to become one of us, to become human, in order to take on our human nature, to redeem it and save us from the sin. So it's a grace that we have the gift of our human nature, and then the media really just pulls that out. What is our humanness is it talking about? So we all have something to relate to it. Now this is really hard to see, but the quote there is that the Pauline mission addresses itself to everyone, to every class, race, age, condition, nation, and continent in order to bring everyone the message of God's love. So it's here in our humanness that we bring the message of hope and love to other people. And the media create the culture. It's not just that there's a media culture, there's some culture out there. Media helped to create it. So, and even there, in that culture, God is found. So, and it's there within the media culture that the Pauline mission really touches lives. It's the core, why we are even present as Paulines in the midst of this media culture. Okay, enough of that. Let's talk about something fun. Okay, there's a quote here from a movie, and you got to tell me which movie it's from. Okay, little quiz. There's no mistake. Aslan is on the move. Okay. Very good. Okay, next one. Do you mean? Oops, I gave away that. Oh yeah. Next one. Okay, donkey, you have the right to remain silent when you left. Yes. Which one? One. Two. Our next really what we're going to be talking about is media mindfulness, and what does this mean? It's kind of a new term. It's a coined term by one of our sisters and another sister who do workshops on media literacy education. And it really means it's media literacy coming out of a faith context, a faith-based perspective. So, well, what is media literacy? Well, media literacy is really how, I'll go on to the next slide, it's really how we are able to critically interpret the messages we receive from the media. That's really all it is. But it's something that we can grow into. It's a constantly changing, we could be looking at what is our best way to address the issues in the media. Not so much just to bash media. That's not media mindfulness, isn't bashing media or protesting a bad movie. Quite honestly, that's like the worst thing to do because you actually give it more attention in the media when you try to protest it. That does nothing. It only brings more attention to it, and it gets people more curious. And they're like, "Oh, okay, so let's go watch it now." Unfortunately, like when the Da Vinci Code came out, that's what the church was doing, and that's not being media mindful. It's more asking the questions. So, what is going on in this movie? Why? What are they trying to say? What are the issues in this movie? What are the values that it's bringing out? What are the non-values that are coming out? So it's not so much protesting it as asking the questions of it. So that's what media literacy really is about. And so it really helps us to kind of hone our skills on questioning and dialoguing with media. So that's what we're going to do. But 5 core concepts of media literacy. This is important. But every time we think we just kind of consume a lot of media all day long. I mean, if you think about it, how many messages come to us in every form, and we're almost wired continuously 24/7. But what about media literacy? Let's ask the question. There's 5 concepts. All media messages are constructed. They're not reality. Somebody is putting it together and sending you a message. So the question is whether it's all true or not. It doesn't matter. They've created some kind of message and they're sending it. It's a creative language with its own rules. So you can't compare it to other messages you receive or somebody communicating directly to you. Media has its own messages just by the creativity that's the context it's put in. And we all experience media messages differently. No one person is wrong and another person is right in how they interpret it. Because you bring your own faith context to it, but you also bring your own human context to it, so your own values to it. And media have embedded values of their own. Besides what we bring into it when we watch it, there's also certain values that it brings. And the goal is to gain profit and power. There is no other way to look at it. That is what the media industry is. It is gaining profit and power. So we always have to keep that in mind. But before we continue, we have to look, what's my image of God? Because in media, we're getting this is a lens of which we're looking at a particular context. That's what media is. So we're looking through at a particular truth or a particular issue of human existence or human experience. It's a lens, like a camera lens. But if we don't have a clear understanding of what our image of God is and our own values,